Waxed cotton is, as the name suggests, cotton impregnated with a paraffin or natural beeswax-based wax, woven into or applied to cloth. Widely used from the mid-19th century to the mid-1950s, the product, which originated in the sailing industry in England and Scotland, became widely used by many for waterproofing. It is now replaced by more modern materials but is still used by the country's sports community. The main drawback is that the waxed fabric is not very breathable. Background: early mariners noticed that wet sails were more efficient than dry sails, but due to the weight slowed the vessel down. For the 15th century, mariners applied fish oils and grease to the heavy sailcloth, out of the worn remnants of which they cut waterproof capes to keep themselves dry, the forerunner of the fisherman's slicker. The result was efficient sails in dry weather, lighter sails in wet weather, and drier sailors throughout. From 1795, Arbroath-based sailmaker Francis Webster Limited had perfected the art of adding linseed oil to flax sails, creating an oiled flax, lighter than wet sailcloth. These started to be used by the Royal Navy and the early tea clippers. As the tea races increased in competition, the clipper designers and captains looked for weight reductions. As the clippers were often used to ship cotton from Egypt, experiments were started with this lighter material. Development: the first waxed cotton products of Egyptian cotton with linseed oil applied started to appear from the mid-1850s. Tea clipper sails were made from strong two-ply yarns in both warp and weft, which provided lighter cloth with extra strength for the larger sails. The recipe for waxing each cloth remained unique to the cloth, but all cloths suffered the same problems: stiffness in the cold, and a tendency to turn a shade of yellow towards that of pure linseed oil, creating the early yellow of fishermen's clothing. In the mid-1920s, 3 companies cooperated to create paraffin-impregnated cotton, which produced a highly water-resistant cloth, breathable, but without the stiffness in the colder yellowing with age. Woven by Websters, it was taken to Lancashire for dyeing, and then to London for copro-ammonia treatment. The cloth was then returned to Lancashire for waxing, and then back to Websters for storage, sales and distribution. Websters were cautious about disrupting the home market, and so sent the new product to another part of the British Empire with similar climatic conditions and a love of sailing for testing, New Zealand. Given the local name Japara, as the material proved the weather and sales success, it was adopted as the trademark by Websters. In 2005, a new technology, refined hydrocarbon wax, was developed to replace copro-ammonia treatment and remove the smell. Current United Kingdom main manufacturers are British Millerain Co. Limited, Halley Stevenson's Limited and Temple Oil Mills. British Millerain were the first to wax cotton in the UK and export this specialist textile across the globe. Halley Stevenson's began as a manufacturer of textiles for upholstery, curtains and furnishing, and added waxed cotton to the range in the 1990s. More recently, Temple Oil Mills was established and began manufacturing waxed cotton in Ireland. Usage: waxed cotton became an instant success with the commercial shipping industry, and Websters as primary manufacturers turned to thinking of alternate markets that the product could be used in. One of the early adopters was J. Barber and Amp Sons in the outdoor industry, producing wax jackets for farmers and gamekeepers, and as motorcycling was then the predominant form of personal transport, the new company of Belstaff also developed clothing. Waxed cotton came in either black or an inconsistent dark olive. Color was controlled by the amount of copper left from the copro-ammonia treatment, and because of variability of the olive, a complementary dark brown corduroy collar was placed on dark olive jackets. Barbers entered the motorcycling market from the early 1930s, with the Barber International motorcycle suit, developing the market presence through sponsorship of the British competitions and teams in motorcycle trials. Barber International suits were worn by virtually every British international team from 1936 to 1977, and in the 1964 International Six Days trial, actor Steve McQueen and the rest of the American team adopted as the first choice waterproof clothing for the British Armed Forces during World War II. Uses of waxed cotton escalated in the late 1940s and 1950s as spare material and army surplus was sold off cheaply. Rubber was also widely used for waterproofs during the 19th century, and although not breathable, was highly versatile and widely used. In 1823, Charles McIntosh patented a double-textured fabric sandwiched around a layer of rubber. The Macintosh became the synonym for the raincoat. Improved Macintosh was extremely versatile and was developed for fashionable wear and sporting activity, and was made by numerous Manchester manufacturers. Other waterproof and windproof fabrics, such as Burberry, Grenfell and Ventile, were developed from the late 19th century. By the early 1960s, wartime developed materials including nylon and PVC had come to the commercial market in volume. The development of synthetic polymers innovation began in the 1920s, gathering pace during and after the Second World War, though it took time for light breathable waterproofs to be developed. Although the uses of waxed cotton have reduced considerably, today there are various forms of waxed cotton with differences in look, touch and performance between each one. Modern uses of waxed cotton have niched to those areas where its greater warmth provides a greater benefit over its cost. Weight and maintenance disadvantages. Maintenance. As wax and cotton are both natural products, they decay and reduce in effectiveness over time. To reduce this decay, waxed cotton products should never be stored in a damp condition, but dried gently. Waxed cotton also needs regular annual re-waxing, as the form of waxing and consistency differs between manufacturers. Re-waxing should only be undertaken with re-waxing products from the original product manufacturer. Re-waxing is best undertaken in the summer, when the material is naturally at a warmer temperature. Then, in small sections, the wax is warmed and then placed on the material and rubbed into the material with a soft cloth. Once fully applied, the material should be gently warmed to allow the wax to both seep in and create an overall even covering.